Well, tomorrow marks the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion.
And Local 10 News is a one and only South Florida station to have a team there in Normandy. Nicole PEREZ begins our coverage.
We are in Honfleur, France. We were just on board the Navigator cruise ship that's right there behind me, carrying over a dozen World War II veterans. The World War II Museum actually sponsors this trip so that these veterans can follow in the footsteps the Allied forces took in World War II from Amsterdam to Normandy, so that they can be a part of commemorating the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Meanwhile, President Trump and First Lady Melania are just across the English Channel recognizing this major anniversary. They took some pictures and participated in events with UK leaders commemorating the 75th anniversary of D-Day. He met with the Queen and with D-Day veterans as well. President Trump will be here tomorrow in Normandy for the anniversary ceremony at the cemetery. We also spent the day at the cemetery, where we'll be tomorrow for the big day. Crews are ready to welcome 12,000 people from all over the world. An American flag and a French flag will be placed at every gravesite in the cemetery. Over 9,000 brave men and women lie there. The lawn is meticulous and the stage is set and ready. Today we spent the morning at Pointe du Hoc, which is in between Omaha and Utah Beach, the two beaches where the Americans came ashore during the largest amphibious assault in history. We watched as our U.S. troops reenacted climbing a 100-foot cliff, and our very own Roy Ramos had the incredible opportunity to tell this story. And Roy, you spoke to a World War II veteran today too.
Yeah, Nicole, this all started as a vacation for me, but fortunately I got a chance to experience some amazing things and speak to some extraordinary people. One of them being Major General John Ron. He described to me where he was on D-Day and when he arrived to Pointe du Hoc. He said that 100-foot cliff you just described was one of the many challenges that those men faced that day.
Their mission was one of the most difficult and daring of the invasion.
40 years have passed since President Ronald Reagan stood at Pointe du Hoc and honored the heroes who fought there. In the days leading to the 75th anniversary commemorating D-Day, again, hundreds gathered at the 100-foot cliff. It is here 225 U.S. Army Rangers landed at the steep 100-foot cliff, but only 90 of them would survive. Wednesday, we watched as 100 Army Rangers scaled the same cliff as C-130s flew overhead, the sun shining with clear skies. The climb today, much different than the one June 6, 1944.
Army Rangers using modern-day equipment today to scale up this 100-foot cliff. You can see these ropes and carabiners right here, but on D-Day they actually just use ropes and hooks to scale up this 100-foot cliff. All this being done while they were being shot at, having grenades thrown at them, and having those ropes cut.
Using 100-foot ladders from the London Fire Brigade, the Rangers began to climb.
It was stormy, it was windy, it was cold.
Major General of the 5th Ranger Battalion and Silver Star recipient John Ron remembers the conditions that day. While he arrived 2 days after the first wave of Rangers had taken the Germans who were firing on them from concrete bunkers, he said, scaling the cliff and taking out the enemy guns for the men before him proved to be one of the most difficult missions of the invasion.
The manila ropes had all gotten waterlogged. So when they fired the grapnels, the rocket-propelled grapnels, almost all of them fell into the English Channel.
This is the highest point between Utah and Omaha Beach. We are strapped in with this harness right here, but right behind me you can see those Army Rangers scaling over this cliff just as those Rangers did 75 years ago. Those Rangers able to make way for future landings.
These are the heroes who helped end a war.
And Nicole, you may be wondering why Major General John Ron was not at Pointe du Hoc that day. Well, that is because he was storming Omaha Beach on D-Day.
And it's so incredible. We continue to meet these World War II veterans who have stories like that, where they were on Omaha Beach, on Utah Beach, things that we only read in history books. And now we get to live this firsthand and hear those stories. Tomorrow is the big day, the 75th anniversary of the largest amphibious assault in history, the Normandy landings. Coming up on World News tonight, the tents are up and ready. Media from all over the world will be here to commemorate the 75th anniversary of D-Day at the Normandy American Memorial Cemetery. ABC's David Muir will be anchoring from Normandy tonight at 6:30. And we will be there tomorrow to bring you the very latest and possibly one of the last times these veterans will be able to be a part of this historic event. We are in Honfleur, France. I'm Nicole PEREZ, Local 10 News.
And do stay with Local 10 for live coverage from Normandy tomorrow as we do mark the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion.